Okay, the question is, how do I breathe when singing? Well, that's a huge question because the way we naturally breathe is very different than the way we breathe when we want to learn how to sing or when we want to sing well, okay? And there's lots of different types of breathing. I mean, there's ways that runners breathe. They have a very specific way that runners breathe. There's a way that swimmers breathe when they go to take a breath and how they pace out their breath underwater and then they take their stroke and so forth. There's different breathing for yoga and so forth. So there's lots of different ways to breathe, and especially in singing, it's very different. So let me go through the math of this. But before we do that, I want to emphasize that the way we normally breathe, we're going to have to break some habits of how we normally ingest air in the lung, in the intercostal muscles in the lung. Now, I have a video out, and I'll put it in the description tag, breathing for diaphragmatic support, or it's called diaphragmatic support, how we breathe. So, but I want to walk us through this again. So we have in our lungs, in the cavity of our lung, we have these muscle tissue, and like I said, they're called intercostal muscles. And it's like a giant honeycomb that goes through the lung, and they're very vulnerable, they're very fragile. So you got to be really careful with it. That's why when someone has lung cancer, that's one of the hardest surgeries to perform, because it's kind of like taking those little things of glue on a straw, and you blow like a balloon in the straw, you blow a balloon up. Well, imagine even thinner substance and a bunch of those in a honeycomb fashion throughout the lung. That's pretty much, what your lung looks like, right? So it's very sensitive, very delicate. But with that said, so most people, when they ingest air, they take the hit of the breath like this and go, and they ingest it from the lung, okay? Now, of course, we have to have air in the lung, so I don't want you to go away thinking, wow, Ken said, you breathe from your stomach and you don't breathe from the chest. Well, that is and isn't true, and let me explain. We want to take our breath from the lung and have what's called rib cage expansion. And again, I cover this in my diaphragmatic support. I have a couple of tutorials out on this, and we'll put that information in the description so you can follow along. Now, as I said at the very beginning of this video, that this 5-minute tutorial or 10-minute tutorial is not going to be the total sum of you learning how to breathe correctly, because there's a series of exercises you really should do in order to accomplish this. But to get started, so we take the lung and we're about half to 3/4 full already in the lung. So kind of imagine walking around, you're like a proud peacock. You're kind of walking around heavy, chest out, whatever, not out like this, but full, half to 3/4 full. Now your spine, again, really shouldn't be lurched over or hunched over like this. It really needs to be straight up, and your neck needs to be straight. So think of really good posture, because it's very important. So posture for singing. So we get our posture together so it can sustain and support this concept of rib cage expansion, okay? Now I want you to try an experiment, and it's the experiment that's in the diaphragmatic support video that I have, so I need you to watch that and lay on the ground and just ingest some air in the belly and feel that breath come in and out of the belly. Now what you're going to notice is that when you're laying back on your back, right, that your rib cage is already split open. It's already in an open state, all right? It's already expanded and not contracted like when you exhale, so it's expanded. And that when you're able to relax and put your head on the ground and you can feel this breath coming in and out of the abdomen, that is a good start to really understanding how the actual breath itself works. Now, where a lot of people get frustrated is they don't understand the strength required in that breath in order to be able to sustain good quality singing and have that be the engine that drives your car to give you the strength to be able to sing clearly and powerfully and create longevity. And we're going to have a whole tutorial on longevity because we got asked a lot of questions about things like that. But anyway, so you take this breath and just lay there for a little while and control that breath on the ground and watch yourself. Watch the video that I have. And then I want you to do a couple simple triad exercises. Laying on the ground, you're going to do a sit-up, and you're going to do a simple scale on an ah vowel or an easy vowel, and you're just going to go, you're going to take in the breath, the belly's going to come out, and you're going to go, and as you come up that scale, that will be the top of the sit-up. Now stay in the breath, so as you come back down off the scale, you're going to continue with the breath pulling inside the tummy, kind of like you're going number 2, going to the bathroom. Yes, it's a gross way to give you that analogy, but that is exactly what it sort of feels like. So now what I said at the beginning of this, there's lots of different ways to take the breath and lots of different ways to use the breath. So sometimes you want to take a quick hit, hey, 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 and you want to have, different phrase stabs and stuff. So you can't always say, well, gosh, Ken, how do I go? You take your breath and your tummy's going, like this. Let me back up. Hey, 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 hey. You know what I mean? Hey, 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 hey. Right? And you're going, well, okay, so now I've seen a couple of other vocal coaches on the internet that actually demonstrate that. And one of them is a very well-known, actually there's 2 of them very well-known vocal coaches. And it's kind of interesting because when they sing, they're not demonstrating any strength in that sound at all. They're just going through the motions and and they are doing what it looks correct, but they're actually not demonstrating any strength in the sound. So you've seen me say the call register or the belting register, right? It's like I'm calling out someone stealing my car or my bike, or someone just stole my cell phone off of a table, picnic table or something. And you go, just try it with your tummy. You go, hey, hey. Now don't come from the chest, just from the stomach. Hey, 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 hey. And you do that a few times and you understand that strength. Now, I can't get into all this, and like I said, this is just a small tutorial, and there's a lot to this. I have a singing course. It's called How to Sing Better Than Anyone Else, and I cover through all the steps on how to get good abdominal strength and good abdominal strength for breathing, specifically for singing. Now, why I keep emphasizing the difference of singing breath and other breaths is, let's use the example of yoga, okay? Now, when someone is in a yoga position or in a relaxed state and they take their breath, usually through the nose, sorry. And by the way, you should ingest through the nose as much as you can because it warms the breath and adds moisture to the breath so that it doesn't dry the cords out. Because if you ever notice, like if you have a head cold and you're laying there all night and you're by the time you wake up in the morning, your throat is so dry and your cords are just completely dried out because you didn't warm the breath by ingesting oxygen through the velar-nasal port, the nasal cavity, down into the lung where it warms the breath and it adds moisture. Okay, so that's also another important element. Now again, there's another part to this here. I'm going off on these little tangents. You can't always ingest from the nose. You can't always, you're running around on a stage. Well, how are you going to be able to breathe through the nose all the time? Well, you can't. You just do it when you can, as best as you can, and as often as you can. Okay, let's get back to this breath now. So yoga position. So taking in the breath in a yoga position, you take in the breath. Well, the exhale is the relaxation response, right? So you take in the breath like this, and you do diaphragmatic breathing. You breathe in through the belly. Here you have this belly full of air, and then you release and you relax. Well, in singing, it's the opposite. When you exhale, that's when you're using your air to be able to perform. It's the engine that drives your car for singing. Without it, you're left engineless without a car, right? A car without an engine. So your breath, your exhale is actually your you're saying, so, hey, hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. Right? So every time you take that breath and you pull in the sound. Now, you're going to get a lot of vocal coaches saying, oh, that's wrong. Don't listen to that guy. He's crazy. You want to be in a relaxed state at all times. You should never have any stress in the body. In fact, boy, if you stress out the abdomen like that, it's going to put stress throughout the rest of the body. Okay, guys, first of all, Grandpa's been doing this a very long time. I've taken from some of the world's greatest vocal coaches, and I have put this to the test like you can't even imagine. And yes, that one video I have out where I spent around $1 million on my voice in my lifetime is absolutely the truth. So as these people make these comments and they can't demonstrate it, but they can talk smack and trash and hate stuff, I want you to understand Lionel Messi, he's one of the greatest soccer players in the world on Barcelona. He's an attacking center midfielder. The reason I'm going to use him as another example, and I've used him in the past, is when Lionel Messi is going to goal and he's going to score, okay? Do you think that his body is completely absent from stress? No way. The guy's body is stressed out beyond belief, but he's conditioned his body to manage away that stress and literally pace himself with a balance so that he's able to go to goal with an incredible amount of force and thrust and all the different things and whatever. And then the second he stops, and this is another important component to breathing, the minute he stops, he can go into a relaxation response where his heart rate maybe had been up at around 150, 160 beats a minute. Boom, he can bring his heart rate back down to 70, 80 beats a minute as a resting heart rate when he's waiting for a ball or, kind of just jogging along on the field. Well, so it is with singing singing and with any other sport, in that, yes, resistance, I'd rather use that term than stress. There's an incredible amount of resistance in the stomach that is required. But here's the key to this, and this is why it's important that this, again, is just a short tutorial. You're not going to get everything from one little, video here. But the concept is there, and you'll understand this. You have to really visualize, and I'm not being so esoteric, whoa, Swami, snake oil, visualize. No, you have to really, truly visualize compartmentalizing your body. Here's what I mean by that. So when you think about the lung, you don't think about the lung as lung, stomach, chest, neck, and throat as one unit. You think about your upper torso starting at the diaphragm, and I'm going to discuss this in a second, where you have a relaxation response in the chest and the neck and the throat. Now, we're going to talk more, and you're going to see my video on open throat technique. And I've been preaching this for 30 years, and it's finally coming to light. The open throat technique. Guys, I think I kind of almost coined that phrase. I know it's an old bel canto term, but that and glottal compression and a lot of these different things, tongue to the base of the jaw. I've been talking about this a long time, and now other people are finally coming along and, regurgitating and, representing a lot of the stuff I've already said for quite some time. Yet they still don't get all the concepts and how they work together in concert with each other. But that's another sidetrack. Let me just get back onto this. So anyway, you have to separate your body, and your upper torso has to be in a relaxed state. That's why you have to have build muscle memory for your lungs to be in a 1/2 to 3/4 full state, and you have to manage your stomach and try to imagine that your stomach is doing all the work, and you're able to shake off this stress and from the resistance that's happening in your stomach. That is the key. That, gang, is the key on how to not mount stress throughout the body. It's not that you avoid strength in the stomach altogether. That's utterly ridiculous. It's that you're able, like Lionel Messi going to goal, you're able to manage away that stress into a relaxation response. Now, let's get to the diaphragm. So the diaphragm, it looks like a crescent moon. It's directly underneath the rib cage. It's like this, under here. And when you take a diaphragmatic breath, let me show you it works. So when I take the breath, it goes... And it goes, and it looks like this. So when it expands and contracts, and when it goes like this, that concave, I wish I could kind of make it look like this, right? That concave part of the diaphragm, if your lungs if you have them, again, built muscle memory in the lung to stay full, it builds a vacuum inside the lung so that you have a snap response of air when you want to go, hey! You have all this incredible amount of strength. Now, why is that important? Well, it's important because if you try to do it from the lung, what did I say at the very beginning of this? That the lung is very fragile and very sensitive. It's not that it can't be made strong or stronger, but it carries nowhere near the strength and capacity of your transverse abdominis muscle that runs through your stomach on and through the back, and sciatica down your back, and all the different muscle structures that you have in the stomach that can handle far more of a load and have a much greater stamina or built-in stamina within the stomach itself rather than huffing and puffing from the lung. That's why most of you out there, when you go to sing a song, you only last 2 songs, 3 songs, 4 songs, and you start to build and mount all that tension in the throat closes down, you pinch and cramp in the throat, you start squeezing, and choking off the vowels that you're singing or whatever, which creates this vicious cycle of this, this response of just like choking down or clamping down on your vocal folds. Now that's also why I want to talk about on another video, the ah vowel, because once you've established this amazing stream of air from the stomach, once you hit the glottis, which are your vocal folds, with this air, you can't hit hey. You have to build in, again, muscle memory for good open throat technique to keep the throat open so the throat doesn't cramp down and clench down, and building muscle mass up into the throat where you feel like you're choking on your vowels, okay? So like I said, this is just a very quick overview on how all this stuff works, but it's really helpful to understand the mechanism. So again, we have posture. We have our lungs fill 1/2 to 3/4 full. We have a relaxation response between the chest, neck, and throat that we really have to concentrate on. We take in the breath from the belly, and then we bring in that breath with all the strength that we have. And between each breath, again, very different. When I said about the doing sit-ups thing and doing the triad when you're singing and doing sit-ups, is most people when they do sit-ups, they do crunches and they go, right? And then they have a really tense abdomen. Well, again, that would be true for the other vocal coaches out there that say you're building up tension, and then it's going to translate through the body. Actually, no, that's not true. What you do is after each sit-up, when you go back down on the ground and lay down, you completely relax the body. Get your hands in there. Grind into your stomach if you have to relax your abdominal muscles in order to be able to create that relaxation response so that you can come back up for another sit-up and not overuse this muscle structure. If you don't do that, it's like a guy doing barbells, and here's his barbells, like as he's doing, sets of 10. Let's say I'm at number 10, and that my resting part is here while I'm holding on to all that weight, and I'm not really relaxing and resting the muscle, then I don't really rejuvenate that muscle, and it never, resuscitates or rejuvenates to the point where I can come back fresh and do it again. Okay, if you like what you heard, please like and subscribe to my channel, and check out my singing course. I've got a singing forum that has around 10,000 people in there. We're all talking about this stuff, how to help you get better at your singing, and check out a lot of the free video tutorials. I mean, start there because you can see all the different things that I have that are really great free resources to get you where you need to be. And then if you want to take that next step, please feel free to check out my singing course. Okay, until next time, gang, God bless you.
This feeling that I'm under, I don't want to